Hello, assalamu alaikum. So, welcome back once again, everyone, to the orientation of all new session of fundamentals of grammar. In today's orientation, we are going to talk about कि क्यों grammar is really, really important for everybody, specifically for those who are preparing for exams. वो तो उनको पता ही है. But why and how it's important for everybody, right? So, in today's class, we're going to talk about all of those things. Before we start, so I have a quick question for all of you. Am I audible? Yeah? Sabko awaaz aa rahi hai? Yes or no? Give me a quick confirmation. Chalo, zabardast. So let's start our session today with a quick question, right? So be brutally honest, right? Bilkul 100% honesty ke saath. If I ask you to write ek 500 alfaz ka ek koi bhi essay, right? And it does not have to really fulfill koi bhi CSS ya koi bahut academic kisam ka, but any 500 word essay right now, would you be able to do it without seeking the help of maybe Chat GPT, Google, Grammarly, या जो भी आपके इस तरह के AI के tools होते हैं? So quickly, give me a confirmation. How many of you would be able to do it comfortably? Right? So jaldi se. So yes, no, no, right? So yes, no, with a quick yes, no response on the chat. I'd really appreciate that. Come on, everyone. So 500 word essay right now, if you have to write it, how many of you? So a simple yes, no question. Yeah, simply or maybe you type a number from 1 to 10 in the chat, right? कि अगर 1 means that you'd not be able to do it, and 10 would mean that you'd write a very good essay. So hello, yes, 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 quickly. So answer this question, type a number from 1 to 10 in the chat, depending on 1 is like बिल्कुल नहीं कर सकते and 10 is like you can do it really, really well. 5, right, so very good. 1, Samia Nawaz would say 1, right, so fair enough. 3, 2, right, very good. ये कौन है? Lal Khan, yes, Lal Khan says 3. Yeah, quick. You guys need to be quick. Yeah, 5. Farhan Ahmed, very good, right? So 5, कुछ लोग 1 कह रहे हैं, कुछ लोग 2 कह रहे हैं, 3, 5, right? So uh, the most important thing is, why does this happen, right? Why does this happen? Because your communication के लिए, and we're strictly talking about communication, right? I've not used the word written communication. It can be in any form, spoken can, the writing, reading, listening. So all of this is like a part of communication. So communication के अंदर जो सबसे पहला building block होता है, that is understanding the syntax, right? Understanding the structures, the grammatical structures that have to be used. And unfortunately, the way we've been taught grammar so far in schools, या जो हमने शुरू में जिस तरह से grammar का हमारा वो होता है, start होता है English language का, that is so boring and that is so cliche, इतना old school किस्म का वो सारा होता है कि it does not really give us the essentials, right? It does not give us the practical skills to communicate properly. And this is exactly what we're going to talk about in today's class and also subsequently in the rest of the classes जो कि हमारी इस course में होंगी. So very good. So most of you have rated 3, 2, 5, less than 5. ज़्यादातर लोग का है यहाँ पे, ठीक है? So our agenda for today, and of course this is not limited to the class that we have for today, but also this is going to continue in the next classes as well. The hidden cost of poor grammar, right? So हम लोग को पता है कि अच्छाइयाँ तो हमें पता है कि ये अच्छा होगा, ग्रामर अच्छी होगी तो ऐसे होगा, अच्छा स्कोर आएगा, we'll be able to write well, we'll be able to communicate, to speak properly, without लोग हमारा मजाक उड़ाएं कि ये कैसी अंग्रेजी बोल रहा है, right? So the hidden cost of poor grammar, we're going to talk about that. Real mistakes that cost millions, right? And we're going to talk about a case study, a very interesting case study in this part, jahan pe literally there's a company that was sued for, I think, $5 million, right? Just for one small grammatical mistake. And then your grammar in exams and life, and of course exams ke andar to I think you guys all know very well that every exam tests you on your understanding of grammar, right? जिस भी एग्जाम के अंदर इंग्लिश का कंपोनेंट होता है वहां पे लाजमी ग्रामर के ऊपर आपको, एंड जनरली इन लाइफ एज वेल, कि कहाँ पे आपने किस तरह की गलतियां करनी है, देन लाइव एक्टिविटीज will fix some very basic mistakes together. And then in the end, we're going to talk about the course fundamentals of grammar, and we're also going to reveal what's new in this upcoming batch, and what sorts of things we're going to do in the course overall. So let's start with the first part, the $1 billion mistake, right? This is like really यहाँ से हम लोग start करते हैं. तो this is like a real life, आप लोग इसको Google भी कर लेना. Oakhurst dairy overtime dispute in Maine in the US. And bear this in mind that this is happening in the US, right? So हमें शायद लगता होगा कि ये सिर्फ ग्रामर की मिस्टेक्स हम लोग ही कर सकते हैं, गोरे नहीं कर सकते. So this is एक गोरों की एक कंपनी है जिसने एक ग्रामर की मिस्टेक करके मिसिंग अ कॉमा, राइट, एक कॉमा उन्होंने मिस कर दिया था, एंड दे गॉट सूड बाय देयर ओन स्टाफ. अपनी कंपनी के ड्राइवर्स ने उनको सू कर दिया था, एंड दे वर द कंपनी वाज the drivers claimed $5 million, right? और वो ड्राइवर्स जो थे उन्होंने वो केस जीत भी लिया, और कंपनी को $5 million का नुकसान हुआ, जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द फैक्ट कि उन्होंने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के अंदर एक जगह पे ओवर टाइम वाली एक जगह थी, उसके अंदर कॉमा लगाने की उन्होंने थोड़ा सा हैंकी पैंकी हो गई थी, राइट? सो इट कैन लिटरली कॉस्ट यू मिलियंस in real life, right? So where to put dots, lines, कब हमने क्या यूज करना है, किस तरह का verb लगाना है. So all of those things are really important, and they make difference when you talk about them in different contexts, right? So yes, it is important. And iconic newspaper headlines. So newspapers के अंदर भी आपको अक्सर headlines के अंदर ऐसी ambiguities नजर आती हैं कि वो आपको न्यूज से सेंस नहीं निकल रही होती कि यार ये एग्जैक्टली व्हाट दे आर ट्राइंग टू से, एंड वी हैव एन एग्जांपल ऑफ दिस सॉर्ट, राइट? सो दिस इज एन एग्जांपल. ये आई थिंक इन early country news, this is some British New York Times के अंदर, right? So New York Times के अंदर there was this news, stolen painting found by tree, right? This was the title. अब यहाँ पे आप लोग देखोगे तो आप लोग को लगेगा कि यार ये ट्री था जो ढूंढ रहा था स्टोलन पेंटिंग को, राइट? सो इट the headline in itself is ambiguous, right? कि ये ट्री कहाँ से आ गया, स्टोलन पेंटिंग फाउंडिंग बाय ट्री. तो यहाँ पे एक छोटा सा आर्टिकल एंड द, जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं डेफिनेट इंडेफिनेट आर्टिकल्स, एक छोटे से आर्टिकल के ना होने की वजह से it has rendered the sentence or the headline, news headline, meaningless, right? So this suggests the tree has eyes and a sense of civic duty कि उसने ढूंढना है painting को, but this is actually not how it happens, and we'll have a look at this inshallah in the course कि हम इस तरह की mistakes को किस तरह से ठीक करते हैं, and how do we make sure कि हम लोग अपनी writing के अंदर और हम लोग अपनी बातचीत के अंदर इस तरह की गलतियां ना करें. And famous public blunders, right? So अक्सर ऐसे भी होता है कि आप लोग कोई बात करते हो. So there was this time, I think शहबाज शरीफ की स्पीच में से there was this speech का एक छोटा सा part that I took out के so you see famous celebrity moments होते हैं, you don't want to ruin them, और वहां पे एक छोटे मोटे कोई ग्रामर के preposition की इधर लगा दिया उधर लगा दिया, it also makes a lot of difference, and you might get penalized for making those mistakes इस तरह की videos के अंदर. So doing yoga since 15 years, you won't say since 15 years, you'll say for 15 years. So I'm sure Kareena Kapoor wouldn't mind this, but just on a lighter note, yes, grammar does make a difference, right? And comment section के अंदर फिर आप लोग को पता है कि क्या लोगों के साथ होता है, बड़ी बड़ी सेलिब्रिटीज को भी लोग फिर स्पेयर नहीं करते, राइट? यू नो दी keyboard warriors. So they come in and then they ruin the moment. And then once again, assignment submitted by me and my friends. This is some meme. Me and my friends. So यहाँ पे भी हमने pronouns के अंदर inshallah once we go to the pronouns वाला chapter. So we're going to look at this, that will not say assignment submitted by me and my friends, but by my friends and me, right? So once again, the ordering of the pronouns. So if you want to sound really how do I put this? Really apt and appropriate, right? All the time. So you won't tend to make such mistakes in your real life, right? And zahir si baat hai, phir people would also make fun of you. And then CSS PMS. Now, a little bit of some serious talk, right? So for CSS PMS and all one paper exams, right? So CSS PMS के बारे में पहले बात करते हैं, then we'll talk about one paper exams as well. CSS PMS या जितने भी एग्जाम्स होते हैं जिनका कोई रिटन कंपोनेंट होता है, जैसे वो जुडिशरी का एग्जाम होता है या कोई भी जो एग्जाम्स होते हैं जिसके अंदर रिटन का पार्ट भी होता है, सो वहां पे इफ यू राइट समथिंग that really doesn't reflect what you want to communicate, that's definitely going to leave a very bad impression. And in 99% of the cases, it will also lead to you failing the exam, right? Or which is why CSS के अंदर भी शायद I think 2.5% less than 2.5% का passing होता है, especially in essay writing, in Pressy, right? So this is one of the main reasons. If you look at the examiner feedback reports, वहाँ पे भी वो आपको यही कहते हैं, broken grammar, sentence structures, all of those things are totally not aligned with the way you're supposed to write in an academic setting, right? So एक brilliant idea, एक बहुत अच्छा idea हो, लेकिन you write it in a poorly drafted way, that is of course not going to help you, right? Because the exam is not about bringing in ideas जो कि बहुत जबरदस्त हो, but if you can't really put them in words, that's obviously a failure. And इसी तरह से हमारे पास spoken के अंदर भी this comes into play, कि जब आप कोई बात करते हो, if you have really good ideas, but if you don't know how to put those ideas in words, that's also a disaster, right? So CSS PMS या जितने भी एग्जाम्स होते हैं जिसके अंदर आपका रिटन का कंपोनेंट होता है, उसके लिए तो दिस इज रियली रियली इंपॉर्टेंट. बट फॉर वन पेपर एग्जाम्स, एंड स्पेशली जब से आपका अब ज्यादा जो एग्जाम्स होने लगे हैं वो एमसीक्यूज बेस्ड है, तो उसके अंदर ऑफ कोर्स नेगेटिव मार्किंग भी इंट्रोड्यूस कर दी गई है. सो यू इंग्लिश एंड मैथमेटिक्स, दीज आर द टू पोर्शंस जिसके ऊपर यू नीड टू बी 100% श्योर, राइट? और यही दो वो सेक्शंस होते हैं जो कि आपके मेक और ब्रेक होते हैं, जो कि आपकी सिलेक्शन या सिलेक्शन ना होने के डिसाइड करने वाले होते हैं. क्यों? पाकिस्तान अफेयर्स, इस्लामियात, इन मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस, आई एम नॉट जनरलाइजिंग, बट इन मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस वो एमसीक्यूज, वो आप कोई भी एमसीक्यूज की बुक में से पढ़ लेते हो और आपको वो चीजें समझ में आ जाती हैं और आप उनको रट्टा मार के कुछ कर लेते हैं. बट ग्रामर एंड इंग्लिश एंड मैथमेटिक्स, ये दो ऐसे पोर्शंस होते हैं जो कि मेजॉरिटी लोग इसके साथ स्ट्रगल करते हैं. एंड दीज आर द सेक्शंस जो कि आपके स्पेशली वन पेपर एग्जाम्स जहां पे आपके ये पोर्शंस होते हैं, तो वहां पे this is going to make a lot of difference, right? So you need to have a good understanding of grammar, और especially with negative marking. तो negative marking के साथ अगर आपको फिर सवाल के ऊपर confidence भी ना हो, तो फिर आपको वहां पे टाइम भी ज्यादा लगेगा, confusion भी होगी. So this is one of the typical examples. Pakistan face many economic challenges nowadays. So यहाँ पे you see the problem. What's the problem Pakistan faces, right? This is a very simple, straightforward example. Grammar decides who moves forward, right? As we said कि आपके एग्जाम्स के अंदर, specifically talking about exams, so grammar decides कि आपका it's a make or break English का जो portion होता है. So यहाँ पे आप लोग देखो, there are less apples in the basket. तो अब ये शायद आप लोग को ठीक लग रहा हो कि यार उर्दू में इसको पढ़ोगे तो बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहा है कि यहाँ के इस टोकरी के अंदर शायद थोड़े सेब हैं, राइट? ये वो कहने की कोशिश कर रहा है. इंग्लिश में भी आप इसको ट्रांसलेट आप कहोगे बिल्कुल ठीक है, लेकिन यहाँ पे हमारे पास कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है कि हमारे पास ये लेस जो होता है ना, लिटिल, लेस, लीस्ट, ये जो 3 एडजेक्टिव्स होते हैं, पॉजिटिव डिग्री, कंपैरेटिव, सुपरलेटिव, डोंट वरी अगर आपको इन चीज़ों का इन टर्म्स का नहीं पता, बिकॉज़ दिस इज़ एग्ज़ैक्टली व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू कवर स्टेप बाय स्टेप इन दिस कोर्स। तो यहाँ पे लेस नहीं कहेंगे, देयर आर फ्यू एपल्स इन द बास्केट, राइट? फ्यू एपल्स हम लोग को यहाँ पे कहना पड़ेगा। यहाँ पे ये लिटिल, लेस एंड लीस्ट ये आपके यूज होते हैं विद अनकाउंटेबल नाउन्स, और यहाँ पे एप्पल्स, इट्स वेरी क्लियर दैट दिस इज अ काउंटेबल नाउन। और इसी तरह से द मूवी वाज टू इंटरेस्टिंग, सो टू इज यूज्ड विद अ नेगेटिव, इन अ नेगेटिव वे, राइट? जैसे मैं कहता हूँ यू आर टू डिसऑनेस्ट, कि तुम बहुत ही ज्यादा डिसऑनेस्ट इंसान हो, लेकिन दिस इज लाइक इन अ पॉजिटिव वे, इंटरेस्टिंग, राइट? सो आप लोग कहोगे okay, the movie was very interesting, right? So and don't worry, once again, abhi hum log bilkul surface level, we're not digging deep down, but we're just I'm just trying to give you clarity on why we're doing all of this, and the way we're going to learn grammar, right? It's going to be super interesting, so you don't need to worry about all of this. And then communication beyond exams. So this grammar wala bit, this is not only specified to your exams, as we talked about this earlier as well. It's also related to your interviews, right? So interviews के अंदर भी, या जहाँ पे भी आपको बात करके अपनी वो कम्युनिकेट करना है, सो वहाँ पे भी इट्स रियली इम्पोर्टेंट कि आप जो बात करो तो एटलीस्ट वो आपका, मतलब आपने अक्सर सुना होगा लोगों को, I did not went to the supermarket yesterday. So very common mistake. People make it all the time because they fail to apply the rules that they've learned in school to real life situations, right? So उन्होंने वो rules पढ़े हुए होते हैं, लेकिन उनका practical usage उन्होंने शायद नहीं पढ़ा हुआ होता। Tenses ता है, ती है, चुका है, चुकी है, वो सारी चीजें की हुई होती हैं, but उनका use most probably they miss out on the on that aspect, right? और मैं अपनी classes में भी बारहा शायद YouTube पे भी I've talked about this multiple times कि grammar को in isolation, if you look at grammar, so it's like a really boring thing. But if you look at grammar from the perspective of when to use what, right? Especially in tenses and conditionals and all of those topics. So then you tend to find it really interesting. And then you'll also, there comes a point, मेरे students होते हैं जो मुझे message करते हैं बाद में कि सर मैंने ये फलाने जगह पे ये वीडियो के अंदर ये जरा आप यहाँ पे देखें, इस बंदे ने ये बात की है, isn't this wrong? या किसी जगह पे ये लिखा हुआ है, isn't this wrong? So you'll kind of build that capability that you'll be able to sense that there is something wrong, or not only sense but also you'll be able to correct it. Then admissions hote hain universities, statement of purpose, a very basic document, right? So maybe you'll need it, but nowadays you might as well use AI for this, but AI यूज करने में देयर माइट बी अ प्रॉब्लम कि आप शायद यूनिवर्सिटी आपको पकड़ भी ले, राइट? स्कॉलरशिप की एप्लीकेशन, वंस अगेन यूनिवर्सिटीज के लिए आप अप्लाई करते हो, सो इन यूनिवर्सिटीज जितने भी एकेडमिक आपके एग्जाम्स होते हैं रिक्रूटमेंट के लिए, या वट एवर द एग्जाम इज, या वट एवर द पर्पज इज, वहां पे यू नीड टू फॉलो, स्ट्रिक्टली फॉलो एन एकेडमिक स्टाइल ऑफ राइटिंग. एन एकेडमिक स्टाइल ऑफ राइटिंग में the very important, one of the most important things is having good grasp on the language, which is grammar, right? And then IELTS के अंदर, or generally speaking के अंदर भी university presentations, if you want to sound really good in your presentations, तो शायद presentation तो you'll get it made or using any AI tools, but present तो ultimately आपको ही करना पड़ेगा. And if you can't really present your ideas, so once again class fellows भी शायद आपका मजाक उड़ाएंगे, right? So anyways, so and then grammar impacts on income, right? So I know a lot of you, a lot of my students are already working site के ऊपर part time, they're working freelancing, doing different sorts of things. So imagine there is this real life, so I got this from somewhere. There is a freelancer. Hi, can you write a 1000 article word article on digital marketing by Friday. This is what the client says. The freelancer says, yes, I can do it. I am working in this field since 2 years and I have wrote many articles. I will send it soon. So in this 3 sentences, the freelancer has made 3 mistakes, right? And so some of you might think, यार इस freelancer को अपना काम आना चाहिए, बस that is important. But जब ये client ये देखेगा कि यार ये अपना, so how can he write a 1000 word article error free, right? तो मैं ऐसे बंदे को तो अपना काम नहीं दूंगा जो जो एक 3 sentences के अंदर इतनी सारी गलतियां कर दें. So would you confidently pay this person for this job? I would not, right? And I think आप लोग भी नहीं करोगे. So this is the idea कि even freelance के अंदर, so I've seen this multiple times that people selling English के courses and उनके जो वो होते हैं, वो जो क्या कहते हैं posters होते हैं, उसके अंदर भी English की गलतियां, right? And then so on and so forth. So people telling people how to write good essays, but they can't even uh, speak without making a mistake in English, right? एक sentence भी शायद सही से बोल नहीं सकते या सही से लिख नहीं सकते. So this is a problem because uh, eventually what that would do is कि आपका जो client और आपके बीच में जो एक relationship होगा, so no matter how competent you are, this is definitely going to leave not a very good first impression. And first impression, as we all know, is the last impression. ठीक है अच्छा, चलो जबरदस्त. And then choose your path. Example 1, he didn't went to school because he was sick. I hope that you guys can correct this one. So let me know in the comments, A, B, or C, which one is correct. He didn't go, he didn't gone, he didn't going to school because he was sick. So once again, I think we've talked about it. Uh, and I'm sure that by now all of you can correct this sentence, right? And then another one, she don't like ice cream but eats it sometimes. So यहाँ पे क्या करोगे आप लोग? So let me know in the comments. She doesn't like ice cream but eats it sometimes. She don't like ice cream but eats it sometimes. She doesn't like ice cream but eats it sometimes. Right? So once again, let me know in the comments. I'll go through the comments after we're done with this session because I really want to see where my this batch का जो intake है वो लोग अभी इस point के ऊपर कहाँ पे है, so that I can design the activities going forward. The government have failed to address to addresses the issues properly, and the public is angry. Me and my friends was going to the market, but nobody were ready on time. So once again, solve these questions as well on the chat, and both of them, right? Or I'll go through the chat after we are done with the session, ताकि once again just to know कि मेरे इस बैच के स्टूडेंट्स कहाँ पे हैं, ताकि मुझे पता चल सके कि हमने कहाँ से अपनी गेम को अपलिफ्ट करना है और ऊपर लेके चलना है. And one last exercise for all of you. This is one treasure hunt paragraph. So in this paragraph, you'll have to find out the mistakes. जो grammatical mistakes हैं यहाँ पे, वो कौन-कौन सी grammatical mistakes हैं. So let me know once again in the comments, right? So the group of explorers is finally approaching the hidden cave, but their map ceased to be outdated. After hiking for hours, everybody are starting to feel exhausted and hungry. If they don't find the entrance soon, the mission will be a total disaster. So once again, just get this read, just read it down, and maybe you can write this on the chat as well. Very good. Rabia Aftab, at least she's given it a try. Hijab Khan, Remsha Durani, excellent. Very good, Vijay. Lal Khan, Zabardast. Zabardast. Hamad Raza, very good. And then we have why join FoG, right? So I think by now, आपके पास already you have lots of reasons why you should join this course. But still, batch 27, right? So batch 27. Why is this number important? Because this is my lucky number? No, no, this is not my lucky number. This means that 26 batches की जो भी learning as a teacher मुझे हुई, जितने भी students थे, उनकी जो मुझे learning हुई, so maybe this would be a much refined version. और जो मेरे यहाँ पे students बैठे हुए भी होंगे, उनको भी पता होगा कि my batches keep on evolving with the passage of time. जो मेरा batch 1 का student होगा और जो batch 26 का होगा, उन दोनों में काफ़ी ज़्यादा फ़र्क होगा। जो कंटेंट कराया जाता है, जो कोर्स को जिस तरीके के साथ कराया जाता है, सो अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स कीप ऑन चेंजिंग, राइट? So yeah, so you have the reasons and why you need to join FoG. So once again, this is like a step-by-step weekly learning program, right? So यहाँ पे हम लोग क्या करते हैं? We have divided the course into modules और छोटे-छोटे ब्लॉक्स होंगे जिसके अंदर हम लोग चीज़ों को कवर करने की कोशिश करेंगे. एंड देन वी हैव आफ्टर क्लास क्विजेस, राइट? एंड देयर आर इन पर्सन क्लासेस एज वेल. सो फॉर दोज ऑफ यू जो कि ऑनलाइन ज़्यादा कंफर्टेबल हैं, सो उनके लिए जूम के ऊपर क्लासेस होंगी. फॉर दोज ऑफ यू हु वांट टू कम एंड रियली बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस एक्सपीरियंस as we have the classes, so yes, you now have the option of joining in person as well. So my classroom studio, it's here in G11 Markaz, uh, close to Tehzeeb Bakers. And then we also have in this batch, I've tried this a couple of times earlier as well, but it did not really go that well. But this time around, book reading, I am hell bent on doing it in this batch कि हम लोग book reading को थोड़ा सा interactive बना के कोई quizzes discussion के साथ we'll try to do something of this sort in this batch definitely. And I'm with your support कि आप लोग ने मुझे वादा करना है कि you'll take the quizzes and the discussion जो class के अंदर discussions होंगी हल्की फुल्की on the readings. If you participate, so of course, because the teacher's energy is वो क्या कहते थे हम साइंस में is directly proportional to the effort that the student puts in, right? So I really want to see the input of you guys, of the people who've enrolled. And then your FoG advantage, track your quiz performance and exclusive batch activities. There'll be certain activities that we'll be doing. Some of those activities will be, I'm planning to do those on YouTube, but the other activities will be on Zoom and also here on campus, right? And this is how we've broken down the entire course, right? So we'll start with module 1, which is like the really small bits and pieces: nouns, pronouns, articles, then adjectives. How do adjectives work? Because they're modifiers, right? Modifiers, verbs, then verbs का जो क्या कहते हैं उसको, we'll do a deep dive into verbs कि verbs किस किस तरह के होते हैं, कब हमने किस तरह के verb को use करना है, adverbs. Then in module 3, once we know these words, these nouns, these parts of speech, articles, all of these things, then we switch gears and we move on to sentences, और हमारे पास वहाँ पे conjunctions, prepositions के इनका use हम लोग किस तरह से कब कैसे करते हैं. And then we move on to module 4, which starts off with tenses. And tenses, once again, जिस तरह से हम लोग स्कूल में पढ़ते आ रहे हैं, ता है, ती है. So my tenses, the way I teach tenses, does not include any of that. It is totally based on your application of when to use, in which sorts of situations you use which tenses, right? And then verb forms, of course, this is really important because you need to know what verb forms. This is a new topic that I've added this time around, which is causative verbs. I've taught it before as well, but yahan pe in this batch it's going to be taught like separately. And then modal verbs, of course. And then we have module 5, we go towards the infinite verbs, right? So a lot of you might not be aware of all of the terms that have been used here, but trust me, towards the end of the course, inshallah, jab khatam hoga, so you'll not only be aware of all of these terms, but also you'll be able to use these effectively in your writing, in spotting out the mistakes जो कि कभी एग्जाम के अंदर आ जाएं या even in your spoken as well. Participles, gerunds, infinitives, कब हम लोग कौन से यूज करते हैं, हाइब्रिड स्ट्रक्चर्स के कुछ स्ट्रक्चर्स होते हैं जिसके अंदर दोनों चल सकते हैं, कहीं पे एक चलता है कहीं पे दूसरा नहीं चलता, राइट? सो वील लर्न ऑल ऑफ those structures. And then one of the most important things in English language, which is subject verb agreement, and I get to see this. मुझे रोना आता है जब कोई सब्जेक्ट वर्ब एग्रीमेंट की गलतियां करता है, बिकॉज दिस इज समथिंग which uh, which is very easy to understand. But I don't know why, but people make these mistakes so often, and it makes me feel really frustrated, right? But my students, being my students, inshallah, you guys won't. And then we phrases ka deep dive karenge, clauses ka deep dive karenge, कि clauses, noun clause, adjective clause, ये clause, वो clause, कब कौन से use होते हैं, modifiers and clarity, के dangling, misplaced modifiers, and then of course we have conditionals, which is like one of my favorite topics, right? So yeah, this is how the course is designed, and along with all of these topics, we're going to do some reading activities, books mein se, and we're also going to have lots of practice exercises in class and also after class, right? So this is how about we are going to go about it. So grammar never changes. The interesting thing is grammar never changes except for a few things that have evolved over time. Not for a school student. सबके लिए एक ही चीज़ है. The rules are the same. What changes is how clearly you understand and apply those things that you learn here, right? And somebody has asked a question, okay, narrations and voice. So stay tuned for that, inshallah. So that is going to be covered in prescient composition, because one, it's grammar, and then दूसरा पार्ट होता है कॉम्पोजिशन का. सो वो प्रेसिएंट कॉम्पोजिशन का अलग से कोर्स होता है जिसमें नरेशंस, एक्टिव पैसिव, डायरेक्ट इनडायरेक्ट, पंक्चुएशंस, सो ऑल ऑफ दोस थिंग्स विल बी कवर्ड देयर. लाल खान, सॉरी, हिजाब खान हैज आस्क्ड कि वोकैबुलरी का क्या होगा. सो वोकैबुलरी तो आई थिंक कि अभी तक आप लोग को उसका आंसर शायद फ्रॉम योर पीपल हु टुक द लास्ट CSS 2026 का एग्जाम और उससे पहले भी उन्होंने शायद आपको बता दिया होगा कि वोकैबुलरी का क्या हाल है. सो वोकैबुलरी का देयर इज अ प्लेलिस्ट ऑन माय यूट्यूब चैनल जिसके ऊपर आप जाओ, और मैं आपको गारंटी के साथ बता रहा हूँ कि 85 to 90% ऑफ योर वोकैबुलरी अगर आप वहां से कर लेते हो, 85 to 90% आप वोकैबुलरी के अंदर इजीली यू कैन स्कोर. लेकिन मेक श्योर दैट यू नोट दोस थिंग्स डाउन एंड यू रिवाइज इट टाइम टू टाइम, राइट? सो वहां पे एपिसोड्स हैं, आई थिंक कोई 20 plus videos हैं. If you go through all of them, you learn vocabulary just the way you're required to do, right? So yeah, this is how we're going to go about it, and yeah. So this is it for today. And how can we improve spoken English? So improving spoken English, this is one of the questions that I get very often. Spoken English को improve करने के लिए सबसे पहले तो you need to have the basic structures in your mind, right? Because सबसे पहला जो hurdle होता है किसी भी language के अंदर बात करने से, वो ये होता है कि when you have the tendency to translate before you speak, that's going to really make things difficult for you, right? Especially in spoken. So yeah. So सबसे पहला काम आपने करना है, you have to stop translating from Urdu या whatever language you speak into English. You have to start thinking in English. सबसे पहला काम, right? So मेरे जो spoken के students भी होते हैं, उनको भी मैंने ये कहा होता है कि you are not supposed to take notes कि मैं ये लिख के ये रट्टे मार के. No, you have to start thinking in English. And number two, सबसे जो effective way of learning how to speak. So one of my students, spoken के अंदर जो अभी he's like a senior citizen. अभी पिछले दिनों मेरी उनसे बात हो रही थी. So he told me the effectiveness of one of the ideas that I gave him was start speaking in front of a mirror to your own self, right? Talk to your own self. बाथरूम में आप लोग गाने भी तो गाते हो ना, और भी बहुत काम करते हो. सो बाथरूम में शीशा लगा होता है, उसके अंदर talk to yourself, right? So have a conversation. और ये नहीं कि घंटों लगे रहो. 5 minutes a day, talk to yourself in the mirror, right? So look at yourself. उससे ये होगा कि उससे आपका जो expressions होते हैं, the way you speak, the way you move your hands, the way you use your facial expressions while you speak, that's also going to improve, because that's also a part of communication, right? So हमें तो लगता है कि communication बस सिर्फ ये ज़बान फर चला लेने से, that's also only communication, but communication is much more than that, right? So the way you intonations होती हैं कि कैसे आप किसी word को stress करते हो. So yeah, this is like a really long story. So spoken के लिए we have another inshallah course start होगा after Eid. उसके लिए stay tuned, right? 37 out of because of your lectures. Thank you so much, Hijab Khan. I'm so glad, and thank you so much for letting me know and letting everybody know on this public platform that my lectures really helped you. Hijab, thank you so much. Allah aapko bahut kamyab kare. Writing skill for KPPMS. Yes, yes, yes. So definitely this is for you. Want to join from India? India. I'm. ये नाम क्या है इनका? Muhammad Hanif, right? So Hanif, I'm so sorry, Yocha, but India say uh, there is issues with payment and because of the security and all of those things, unfortunately. So India say I won't be able to, yeah, to upskill linguistic grip, yeah. So this is about it for today. I'll see you guys. अच्छा, अब हमारा क्लास का स्केड्यूल क्या होगा? आज का हमारा ओरिएंटेशन सेशन हो गया. अब आगे जो हमारी क्लासेस होंगी, they're going to happen on Zoom, right? और Zoom के ऊपर जो हमारा क्लास का स्केड्यूल होगा, that's going to be Monday to Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. and Ramadan timing would be 8 to 9 p.m. So this is about it, and stay tuned to the group and you'll get the class invites and all of those activities and everything. 6,500 is the fee. Allah Hafiz.